Welcome to today's Orchestrator Weekly meeting. We have on the agenda nothing. We have an empty agenda for today. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's going to be super quick. We do have some topics. So, Shaman builds are broken because the containers are not going to push to our Ceph container registry.
Which builds are broken?
The CI container builds are broken.
Okay.
Which means that I can't merge anything right now, which is a pity. Any one of you knows if David Galloway is going to be online today? I haven't seen him today because it looks like he is basically the only one having access to quiet.ceph.io.
I don't know, sir.
Yeah, that was my experience as well. Oh, sorry.
I can try to also to ping him, okay? But if he's not available in ERC, I think that probably he's on holidays. I don't know.
That would be a pity. That would be a real pity. Who can replace?
Well, I think that maybe we can comment this to somebody in the Cristina Menos team, okay? David, I think that he's in the Cristina's team, so maybe somebody in this team can help us, okay?
Another idea would be to ping Josh Durgeon or someone else, or maybe Neha. Don't know about Neha, but at least Josh should be able to answer that as well. Let me ping him directly. Hey. Next topic. What shall we do with SelfADM, the binary? We need to refactor it. Jean-Miguel, I've tried to talk about it 3 weeks ago, and then you were on vacation, and then I was on vacation.
Yeah. Well, I propose start with the refactorization, okay, and it was a lot of lines of code, and it was rejected, okay. We can try to do the same step by step, okay. And well, I can start with that this week, okay. The first thing that I wanted to do is just to finish with the back of open ports, okay, and after that, that basically separates firewall management. Start with the rest of refactorization. We can do that. Okay.
Okay. The other refactorizations that were pretty critical, as it seems, are making SelfADM a proper package.
Yeah.
And properly distributing SelfADM binary to the remote machines. How that ever is going to look like. I'm pretty open with that, but it just needs to properly work. And the thing we right now have doesn't really work in the long run.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you that it's important try to work only with SelfADM package mode, okay? And I think that maybe, well, just to know one thing, it could be acceptable, for example, to install SelfADM as package as part of the requirements, For example, we're having a check in this moment in order to check if all the hosts are prepared, have the minimum requirements, okay? And what we can do, for example, is just to launch the install of CFADM as a package if it is not installed, okay? And to have installed in every node CFADM, okay? With one version in order to check what is the current version and be able to manage all the problems that we can have with managing versions.
I just think that we can't just switch over to the package mode because the package mode as it is right now is pretty broken. So I think we have to properly migrate away from what we right now have. I have written down some notes into the tracker issue here. Have a look at that. So there I've outlined several steps that we need to undertake in order to properly migrate to something different than the root mode.
Okay. I will take a look, okay? But as maybe as part of the refactor of CFADM binary, this is the first step to take, okay? Because I think that is well the big problem that we have in this moment is just this kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And if we really want to extend on its functionality when it comes to managing stuff beyond just deploying containers, like stuff that is not really important. That's right now in the job of SelfAnsible, for example, right? Like restarting machines. I don't know. We really have to properly re-architecture SelfADM. Not re-architecture SelfADM, but migrate the architecture to something that is much more into developers.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that. I think that just trying to put the object-oriented philosophy into the file will simplify the things heavily.
It's just to there's something that really prevents us from doing large-scale Python refactorizations, and just have to make those things go away, and then we can continue with proper. And then at that point, refactorizations of SelfADM binary will be much easier because then we have all the proper tools to properly shift count around, remove global variable, stuff like that, and introduce a proper hierarchy of classes, stuff like that. Okay. So next. I've been working on a pull request to convert this tag to the digest. That's pull request here. Yeah, that's at least provide something that is similar to what we have in SelfAnsible right now, because SelfAnsible also converts the latest tag to the SHA digest, which means that we are not inventing something new here, but only copying over the solution that we already have with SelfAnsible into SelfADM, and that I think a good way forward.
Yes. It's a good idea.
So
it has been tested.
Yeah, any high level feedback would be great if that's actually working, or I mean the code itself doesn't work yet; it's still work in progress. But any high feedback would be great. Okay, Zach, your pull
Yes.
request about
the Crisp getting started guide.
Crisp
I saw
getting started guide. Yeah.
I just saw it. If we unify those 2 pages into one, I mean, I don't have some sort of stone opposition to it, but I do want to include all of that output so that somebody who's never seen the installation can see exactly what happens when it's being added. So if you think it's okay to have a gigantic page that has a big scroll bar on the side, I'm cool with it.
No, I don't that we have to have one big page with a scroll bar in it. It's just that we have only one guide for getting started and not 2.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm fine with that. I'm not opposed to that at all. I wasn't trying to. I mean, this getting started guide is just for using SelfADM to deploy Octopus, so that an absolute beginner can be stepped through it step by step, key press by key press. I'm not trying to confuse the matter with an extraneous getting started guide.
Do we really need 2?
Well, so let me bring up the other one here. So there's.
I mean, pretty hefty.
What's that? What's pretty hefty?
They overlap pretty big. It's.
Well, deploying a new cluster is a little bit more abstract. Like it's not like a strict trail of breadcrumbs through the forest. It doesn't lead you from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. It requires somebody who might not know what the architecture of their deployment is going to look like to make decisions about that. So, like, I understand the desire not to have like a second procedure because it might be confusing, but I think that the install guide, it's not the so-called crisp install guide, leaves too much up to the first-time reader. So I will. So this right here is. I'm gonna chat. Oh yeah, that's where we're doing the same thing. Let's see what's 36432. No, that's not me. That's.
So we are basically talking about this here versus.
So that's the install, and then here's the Octopus getting started guide. The Octopus getting started guide, which is actually a SelfADM getting started guide, which I totally take that point. Are you? Let me ask you this. This might actually help me straighten this out in my head. Do you think it's a good idea to have the button on the front page, which I will make a bit smaller? I take your point. To have the button on the front page link not to this so-called Octopus getting started guide, but to the SelfADM install guide that already exists?
If we I mean, that definitely makes sense to have a big button. Not that big, but a prominent way to
Right, but
direct users to.
do you want it to point to the deploying a cluster guide instead of the Octopus getting started guide that I've written? Because if so, then what I'll do is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like just ask a question and start talking again, but I will go through the deployment guide this week, like on the CPA cluster myself, and see if it seems like there's any places where it needs to be explained a little bit more for a beginner. Because this is all based on, like, back in May when I was deploying a 3-node cluster on some Intel NUCs, like I felt like the cognitive load on the beginner was heavier than it should have been with the deployment guide that it had then. But maybe I'm smarter than I was then.
I think in a way you're completely right about the Ceph ADM deploy, the Ceph ADM install guide. But I don't know. It just feels weird to have the thing, one for different audience than the other.
Well, maybe. Well, the thing is, I don't really want to lose the step-by-step guide because it reminds me. I'll use an analogy here, a labored analogy. When you're setting up Arch the first time, and like if you're not from the 90s, so you didn't have to do like Linux installs from scratch. You don't know that like you want a partition table that has boot, root, swap, and then home. So like you just don't know that when you start out. So you need like a guide that tells you that. And I feel like the deployment guide that we have sort of assumes that people know that they, boot, root, swap, and home are the 4 standard partitions that you get. And like in the install Ceph ADM section, we have it under the deploying a new Ceph cluster page. It's good. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's not. It's good. The sentences in it are clean. There's nothing in there to be embarrassed about. But it's a reference. Like it has several different methods of installing Ceph ADM. Like there's DNF install Ceph ADM, zipper install Ceph ADM, or you can just like fetch it with curl. And I guess here I'm assuming that the reader is going to be, I'll just be blunt, dumber and more impatient than we're thinking. Like I think that a reader will not necessarily realize on first blush that like zipper doesn't work in Red Hat based deployments, for instance. So I don't like I get your point, and I think that for someone like you, who is so conversant with the Ceph infrastructure, like of course the deployment guide has no pitfalls in it for you because you know how to contextualize everything. But the deployment guide is more reference than it is tutorial, and it doesn't hold the hand of the reader all the way through. And the idea behind this crisp getting started guide is like, if you can read English and you can type into a terminal, then you can get to a 3-node Ceph cluster. I mean,
and that's actually what we have with the Ceph ADM install guide, the old one. It's too short.
Which one?
The old one.
can you link me to it?
The ceph-adm/install page.
Okay, let's see. Docs.ceph.com. See, is it still up? Come on, master.
This one here.
SelfADM. Not the deploying a new Ceph cluster page.
Yeah, the deploying a new Ceph cluster page.
Oh,
exactly, this one.
Yeah, it's. I don't think that it's too short. I think that like it says. So we have a step that is like you fetch SelfADM, then you bootstrap the new cluster. So like I know what that is, you know what that is, you know what it is better than I do. And then after that, we have the thing where we direct people to enable the Ceph CLI so that they don't have to go into the shell every time. And then after that, we just tell them add some more hosts to the cluster, which is technically correct. Like there's nothing technically wrong with it. But if they've never set up Ceph before, like how will they know how many hosts that they have that we expect them to set up? How will we know that they're supposed to go to 3? Like it is written more like a reference than it is a tutorial. And so the idea behind the installation guide is just that it is a step-by-step hand-holding tutorial, and I don't think that we have that level of detail in the install guide as it stands right now. Like it tells you, to deploy monitors on a specific set of hosts, Ceph orc apply mon, and then we have inside the angle brackets host 1, host 2, host 3. Mm-hmm. But I can't remember the exact details of this right now, but I remember that there's something funny there, like you have to do that command a certain way so that the second and third commands don't clobber the first one, or so that each subsequent command doesn't clobber the one that came before it. And I think we've got that in the install guide and not in the SelfADM deployment guide. But I mean, like, if it is nonetheless still your vote that you think that the crisp getting started guide is redundant, like I won't dismiss it. I'll chew on it for the next few days.
No.
Okay.
I think it's really valuable. And the idea that the user really has to know less about SelfADM and Ceph in general is really the preferred way to go forward.
Oh, so do you want to like replace what we have with the crisp getting started guide? Because if so, that's going to take a little. Like I'm not opposed to that either, but that's going to take some work because the crisp getting started guide just has everything. It has like it has the host name of these NUCs in my house in it, and all this stuff that would seem extraneous in the context of something that's more like the reference of the deployment guide. Anyway, I'll stop talking for a little bit and let you tell me what you think we should do.
Okay. So my thinking is just it feels a bit odd that we have 2 SelfADM install guides. One called deploying a new Ceph cluster, and the other one called installing Ceph Octopus, which is basically the same thing and do the exact same steps. And the first one is a bit less verbose and depends on too much existing knowledge. And the other one is better. I think in general it's better, but it misses something that we at least misses RTW, misses some additional stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Deploying Ganesha, for example, MDS. So my vote would be actually to merge those guides. and maybe split it out into different pages, one for the Crisp Getting Started guide and additional pages for adding Ganesha, adding LTW, stuff like that. So having a common page to get a Ceph cluster running, and then adding those gateways in different pages. I don't know.
So like a central place where we walk people through the basics, and then after that, it like branches out, right?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
Would be an idea.
All right. I will. I'll see what I can do with it, and then send you a pull request. Like starting to bring these things together, and maybe we can get this done by this week.
Okay.
Because I really want to get the install guide. I want to get the install guide into some sort of decent shape, because then I want to go through the dev guide thoroughly and like clean it. And then after that, I have some once we have a really good install guide, and then the dev guide has been looked over by everybody who knows all the specific stuff about the different parts of it. I have a whole chain of video making tools so that we can make video tutorials or video walkthroughs of things. So what I'll do this week is I'll try to merge these two different pages into one, and I guess we'll probably have an awful lot of conversations on GitHub this week. So that should be a good thing to. It'll be good practice.
Okay.
All right.
Anyone else has any thoughts on the topic? Okay. At least that's what I had in mind for today. Are there any other topics that we should discuss or could discuss today? Any thoughts? Any concerns? Please bring them up. Does. Great. Okay. Then enjoy the week and enjoy the rest of Monday.
All right. Thanks, Sebastian.
Bye.
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 Bye.